Welcome, friends, family, comic book fans, and super deep divers. It's a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive. It is towards the end of the year. Everyone be merry, everyone be cheerful, and whatever. Celebrate how you need to celebrate. Whew! I've got a pretty cool episode. It's not going to be a big one, but it's still pretty cool. The character's pretty cool. So let me get my disclaimers out of the way and we will get into it and see what trouble we can get into from there. So the information is pulled from different sources across the internet, but may or may not be completely complete. But they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. You can catch me every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day on Outworld Fleet Radio. Their website is outworldfleetradio.online. You can also catch me on X and Instagram under Super Deep Dive. You can catch me on TikTok under Superhero Deep Dive. And you can catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. YouTube is the absolute best way to reach me. I would love it if you subscribed, if you like the videos, comment, share them with others, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And if you have any kind of questions, comments, fun facts I may have missed, things you like about the characters, things you would do with the like kind of treatments you would give the characters, or requests for future episodes, YouTube is the absolute best way to reach out. And you can also email me directly if you'd like. Email's always open as well. It's b4itall@yahoo.com. Okay, so this week I am covering Image Comics' Pitt. It's not a lot of information out on him. He was very short-lived, but man, he was popular at the time. But a fun fact is that, you know, Pitt kind of seemed like a little bit of a horror comic, and with Image, you know, they were kind of cutting edge. Horror books have actually gone through cycles of popularity in the comic industry. When Image started in the 90s, Vertigo was actually the big name in horror comics, but then they kind of shifted their focus. Spawn was a superhero title tinged with horror, but it wouldn't be until The Walking Dead dropped that horror books came back again, and in a big way. From there, Image started putting out more and more horror books, and the independent comic scene followed their lead. Horror books are actually a big deal again in the comic industry, and that's mostly due to Image bringing them back with Spawn, Pitt, some of the psychological stuff in like the Max. You have Witchblade and The Darkness. Some really cool titles that all kind of stemmed and from Image and spiraled out from with some of the other publishers. But let's talk about the Pitt. Okay. So in 1981, Alan and Annie Bracken, while on their way from the hospital, were taken by a Creed spaceship, where their emperor Zoivod took a fertilized egg from Annie and then returned them to Earth. So they were taken by Creed, who was really popular back in the 90s, with Arms Wide Open. You know, they were just coming back from that, so they were taken by Creed, put on their new record deal, and while the Brackens were on Earth, with what would become Pitt's brother Timmy, Zoivod combined his genetic structure with the fertilized egg that would become Pitt. Okay, in the Creed Imperial Stronghold, the egg grew in a gestation tank until the creature unexpectedly, couldn't say that, awoke and escaped. He was ultimately caught, and Roth, another Creed hybrid and half-brother to Pitt, assaulted him. Believing him dead, a Creed alien named Quag, these are terrible names, was supposed to get rid of the body, but was attacked by Pitt while flying to the corpse dumping grounds. In the fight, Pitt was blasted out through the door of the shuttle. So, ever since he basically woke up from his little Tide Pod tank, this guy has not had an easy life. Now, on the ground, Pitt clawed his way out of the dumping ground and lived in the wilds until Zoivod sent a team out to retrieve him. Quag and his team did manage to actually get him, but only Quag survived the mission. Pitt was then trained by Quag and given his name. For years, he worked as Zoivod's assassin until an attack on the planet Chakra, where someone named Seer melded the consciousness of the child Jareb, an alien with immense spiritual power, with Pitt. The merger apparently changed Pitt, turning him into a fugitive. Eventually, he ended up on Earth. So when Pitt arrived on Earth, he materialized in a New York City subway near Timmy and saved him and his grandfather from muggers. Immediately after, he disappeared into the city, drifting around while trying to adapt to the new world. Now, I know what you're asking, like, who is Timmy? Timmy's a little kid. That's all I really got. Now, on Earth, he was followed by the Creed because they were on tour. I'm sorry, that joke's probably already old, and I might just keep writing it just for the sake of it, but yeah. Timmy, having a genetic structure similar to Pitt, was attacked instead of Pitt and bringing Timmy and Pitt together again. This was also the first time Rai Key met Pitt, who had been masquerading as Bobby Harris, a New York City police officer. During the fight, Jareb left Pitt and entered Timmy, enabling him to defeat Zoivod. Now, after the fight, Timmy was then kidnapped by Creed. To effect this rescue, Pitt teamed up with Axiom, a New York-based superhero group, and Pitt's half-brother Roth was working with Professor Holdsworth, the leader of Axiom. Holdsworth wanted the power in Timmy, and Roth wanted Pitt. Their plan was foiled, however, and Holdsworth's fate was not revealed, but Roth actually escaped. He returned later and was defeated by Zoivod, who had taken over Pitt's body for a short while. Now, due to the war between Creed and the Cenobite, Pitt would have been attacked by the Cenobite, but they had found him on Earth. The Cenobite Uriel therefore hid him in an alternate dimension known as Shimmer Space until they were gone. That's a terrible name, Shimmer Space? Isn't that a She-Ra character? I don't know. Anyway, in Shimmer Space, there Pitt met Jareb again. While in Shimmer Space, Jareb could see all time at once, past, present, and future. He told Pitt some of the things that would happen to him, and Pitt was only in Shimmer Space very shortly, but when he came out, 5 years had passed on Earth. Now, while Pitt had been in Shimmer Space, an organization bent on world domination known as the Think Tank had created Pitt clones, one of which was sent to steal some alien artifacts from a military installation. For this, the US Army sent both troops and their best officer, Captain Curtis. These terrible names. Captain Curtis? Isn't he was in Pee-wee's Playhouse, right? No, that was Cowboy Curtis, right? He got a promotion. He's captain now. So they had Lawrence Fishburne come kill Pitt. They only succeeded in taking care of Captain Curtis and the US soldiers. And Pitt went to the White House, where he took care of Bill Clinton's double on the lawn. Pitt somehow found out about the think tank being behind it all and went to the Crossbow Technologies building, where he took care of their leaders, the Gillies. Terrible names. Oh my gosh. But that's really it. Like, I mean, his story isn't a very big one, but it's full of just like WTF moments, right? Like, you just have to sit there and you're looking like, man, the only thing consistent is the bad naming. All right, but let me get into his powers. But in the meantime, I want to know what you guys think. Did I miss anything important? Because there just wasn't a lot of information. And when Pitt came out, I was not as interested at the time. So there's a very good chance I missed a lot. And I hope for his sake I did, because the story, it seems like there's a lot to deal with, but it doesn't seem like it's very coherent. Like let me take this comic cliche and throw it in. And then we're going to go right on to the next comic cliche and so forth and so forth. And that's just what I'm picking up. But let me know, like if you're listening to me, you can catch me on X and Instagram under Super Deep Dive. You can catch me on TikTok and YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. Like I said, YouTube's the absolute best way to catch it and have a conversation with it. What else? Oh, you can also email me at B4, so B4itall @yahoo.com. And I do get emails frequently, so I want to thank you. I think this one, Pitt, was a request from about 2 months ago. So sorry it took so long. Had a long list, and I am trying to get what I can done while I can. All right, let me get into his powers. So Pitt has vast super strength, and he uses pain as a stimulant. He can also leap 10 kilometers in one bound. I don't know how far 10 kilometers is in an Imperial thing, but it's far. He also has razor sharp claws that tear through most, possibly all substances. Pitt has some durability, being able to survive attacks that would kill or disable superhuman beings with relative ease, and can heal near fatal wounds very quickly. He has limited psychic powers like mind reading, and uses his opponent's aggression to lock on to his enemies. So it's kind of like, instead of the Hulk using his anger, he uses pain as a stimulant. So he's kind of like a mix of Wolverine, and where the healing factor just kicks in, so Wolverine takes like a tremendous amount of pain. Kind of like a mix of Wolverine and the Hulk, I guess. Alright, fun facts. There's one. Pitt actually fought the Hulk to a draw. Their durability, endurance, and healing factors just wouldn't let one get the edge over the other. Whew. That's a lot, right? What a beast. Alright, so final thoughts. Pitt is actually a beast. And to be honest, he was kind of like the 90s reimagining of the Hulk, pure and simple. Like, now I have to say, I've never actually been a fan of the Hulk, like as far as the movies, the games, cartoons, or whatever. And it's mainly because he's just like this force of nature. And the only part of him I ever actually liked was when like the writer was delving into the psychological aspect of the character, not just like Hulk smash. I just couldn't get into that. He is actually my son's, like, the Hulk is actually my son's favorite superhero. I just don't get into it, but I know people that do, and that's great, because that's the beautiful thing about comics, is that we all have different aspects, and there are usually heroes that fit into those aspects that we like. But with that being said, I really don't know what I'd do with this character. I want to thank the person that requested it. I believe their name is Steven. Thank you for requesting this character. I don't know what I'd do with it though. Like, I'd love to see him back, like maybe as an antithesis to the Hulk as an enemy. Because, you know, if you think about it, like, them fighting is really cool. And I know Hulk has this whole thing with people with similar powers, and, you know, they just battle it out. Like, because you have the Red Hulk, you have Abomination, you have Atom Bomb, which is the Blue Hulk. You know, you have all these different Hulks. You have the She-Hulk, you have the Red She-Hulk, you have a partridge in a pear tree, you know. But the thing with them is that, or the thing with Pitt is that, like, the madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets, right? So he's gonna hit harder. But the more pain Pitt feels, the stronger he gets, which will just make Hulk madder and hit harder, which will just make Pitt stronger and hit back harder, and it just keeps escalating from there. So that's the only thing I can really see that would work, is if he came back to fight the Hulk as an enemy. Like, it could maybe work, but really, when it comes to characters like the Hulk, the answer always seems to find someone that's like just as strong and fight it out. So there's got to be something better to do with the character. And I want to throw it out to you guys. Like, what kind of treatment would you give Pitt? Because that's really like the best I got, because he just seemed like a kind of like a quote-unquote extreme version, since everything was extreme in the 90s. He just seemed like an extreme version of the Hulk. But I think that's going to do it for me. I'm sorry it's like 15 minutes and something, but there's really just not a lot of information on the character. But I want to thank Steven so much for sending this in, because it was fun to look up. It was fun to learn about the character and kind of reminisce about those some of these heroes that are really obscure and lesser known. But guys, I think that's going to do it for me. I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone's happy. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is smart. And if you're not smart, don't get caught. See you guys later. Bye-bye.